Hi, this is Dana, and I'll be talking in this video about how you play their game in order to expose them. God is watching very carefully what I'm doing, and of course, He's guiding me in choosing topics and timing for each topic. Sometimes I squeeze in some of the topics that I like, but mostly it's God who decides on all of it, and He always corrects me when I'm not doing the job He wants me to do. This time He corrected me and He asked me that after the last two videos in which I discussed how they interfere in your dialogue with the divine. God showed me that my message was a bit unbalanced. I spoke too much about how much they do. I should balance this, and I should explain how the divine is answering and how the divine is guiding you through their deception. So I'm gonna try now to correct that with this video. So going back to previous examples, I will go to first. I will say that this some of the bondages, in order to break, you have to go through them, through the experience to break it. It's like a mind field, so you have to follow guidance very thoroughly. Much of it is hidden bondage. Uh, Either God is not able to reveal to you exactly what is going on because it's password encoded, either that you're under too much attacks and you simply cannot perceive properly the guidance, or that is just too complex for you to understand, or sometimes God simply wants you to develop certain abilities, to learn to detect some of their tactics, to understand some of the things. This is why I'm able to make this video today, and all of the videos I made and all I wrote, because God took me through many experiences to overcome their attacks, to break bondages, and going through it, I learned, I distinguished their tactics and so on. Sometimes God wants you to play their game for a while, to keep quiet and pretend you don't understand. Sometimes He will not reveal to you specifically, so you will be able to learn to detect yourself their tactics and deception. Um, and also, He does this because He chooses the right timing when He should tell you, because there are certain things which they must do before you answer to them, so they can be punished for them. Okay, God knows what they did in previous lifetimes, but if He would reveal to you what they did in previous lifetime, they would now say, we got a new embodiment or a new incarnation, and we cannot be punished for something we've done previously. So some of the things they must do in this lifetime, they must have a fair chance to change past mistakes. This is why they incarnated. Most of them won't, but they must get a fair chance. So God will keep quiet for a while, but then He will reveal to you, He will expose to you at the right time. He will not leave you in darkness. Other times, God does so so they can be punished, because uh, again, they cannot be punished for something they didn't do this time around. So He will allow for certain things to happen, but He will always step in at the right time. So you're not without guidance or without protection. This is something I must say to balance what I said in previous videos, which is true also, but this is the other half of the glass, which I'm presenting now. Um, Also, God wants for them to build the negative karma, so the punishment will be significant. He doesn't want to punish them for small things. When God intervenes, this is why you have 7 years in a karmic cycle, because when God intervenes and punishes, it must be over. Those people must not be able to do again the same thing. Meanwhile, you have to learn your lessons, develop skills, so you won't allow them to recreate a karmic cycle. and his punishment then will be severe enough so they won't be able to recreate it. So he will allow them to build a negative karma in this lifetime, um, in order to be able to actually punish them for something serious, and to give them enough chances to change, because his punishment is going to be very harsh. So um, also, God does so in order, because there some attacks, some dark forces which they summon and they launch at us, essentially, is not enough to cast them out. As I said in the beginning, if there is a bondage created, or some forces, they have a contract, they will keep coming back and constantly. So um, God will allow some things to happen until is the proper time, until that dark force evolves in a spiraling effect, to that extent to which it can be sent back to its sender. So karma, negative karma will be paid. I'll give you a few examples now. So I'm gonna go back to add a little bit to previous examples. In the previous video, I was speaking about liturgy, and of course, I only talked about the part which is dark, the witchcraft done, which for me was extremely shocking when I learned it, because liturgy had such an important role in my life before. But then I forgot to tell something that, of course, as I was in deep shock, I was like terrified of, oh my God, what I did all my life. It is not possible. And I was literally crying. And I asked Jesus, I said, this cannot be all deception, because I felt you came to me through communion. What is this? All my life was a lie. What's going on? Now this is freaking me out. And Jesus showed me he did come in each liturgy and each communion I took. He did come at me. So I said, so then why you came? If this is a witchcraft, why you came to me when I was taking communion? And Jesus said it was because of your faith, because of your faith. So you manifested me. You manifested me coming to you because of your faith. So you can see how each and every trap they set to us, God and Jesus, they turn it, and of course all the divine realm, they turn it all the way around in such a way so it will become a blessing to us who stay in light. So they don't desert us. In some videos, because I cannot speak too long, I only emphasize one aspect, but there is always the other side of the coin, right? Another example is from the other video, Arsenie Boca, whom I told is Demolay, the Grand Master of Templars, and with whom I had a very special relation. And he guided me. He died before I got to meet him, actually, in material existence, but he guided me throughout spiritual learning, and I was always going at this special site where he's buried, and uh, he would talk to me constantly, and giving me guidance and helping me in achieving things. And at some point in 2015, in spring, he told me specifically, I was there, I took communion, and he told me afterwards, this is the last time you come. Don't come here again. Um, we will meet each other only in prayer, and I will come to you. And only later on I understood it was this, because they already took over the graveyard, and where his body is. They basically claimed him. The church, the Orthodox Church in Romania, claimed him, although he's not a saint in the Orthodox calendar yet, but they claimed him. So they were using his name to talk to people. So essentially, he protected me. He continued to guide me, but he told me not to go there anymore. Although this was the site where everybody would go to him, right? Again, you always have protection. They do interfere in the dialogue with the divine, but you always have protection. I'll give you different other examples. of how God intervenes and a divine realm intervenes in protecting you in what they do, even if you don't see them from the beginning, and even if they let it unfold. I gave another example with a bitch who's doing witchcraft on me using my natal chart and astrology. This woman, this is a almost like a kid. She's very young, and she used to be my colleague in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I didn't really pay attention to her. I didn't, even when God showed me she's doing necromancy, I said, she's just a stupid bitch. I cannot even imagine to pay attention to her. But later on, God showed me she did sacrifice rituals, death spells. She stole my identity. She made witchcraft to steal my destiny, to steal my marriage rights. Literally, she went and built a relationship with a man who she saw in my natal chart that I should meet and be my divine masculine. So she stole my prophetic work and she used it to make money. She used my identity to make money in promiscuous ways. She did slander on me, accusing me of doing witchcraft and black magic in order to transfer her karma at me. Since she stole my identity, she thought I should take her karma, just to switch places. So she did all of this, and God showed me, and I was stunned. I couldn't imagine. I was like, I didn't even know how to react. I was like, she did necromancy as well, and God said, just let her do it, let her do it, because um, the date birth that she has, on which she built your natal chart that she's using to do all this harm to you, is not true. That's not your date of birth. And God showed me when I was adopted that He made sure the clerk who registered my date of birth made a mistake, so that my date of birth was completely changed, and nobody knows it because all my documents are based on that. And I said, well, yeah. So now what do we do? So God waited and He said, wait for her to finish, because she has done in previous lifetime bondages on you like this. And she got to incarnate, promising that she will come to fix all of that. Now she's doing it all again. Let her finish, because she has a few more things to do, which she did before. And when she is done, I will judge and punish her. You claim justice, judgment, and punishment, and this is it. I did so. I did claim justice, judgment, and punishment. When the karmic cycle was over, God punished her already, judged her, and punished her already for some time. And the other day, God told me, because I reversed everything to her, so she now sees the work of God or punishing her. Now you go online and you tell her that your date of birth is not correct, you know. So she will know that I watched her, I let her do all of this, and she never had the correct date, because of what she did in previous lifetimes. So you see, so that God does step in, even if they interfere and they do all of these things. It never happens that it's that you're left alone, even if you're advised to play along their game for a while. It is for a strategic reason, So I never had anyone to tell me this. So this is why I make this video, so others will know that always God will intervene at the proper time. If He's not intervening, it means that either you have to figure something out by yourself, or that is not the right timing. I'll give two more examples. When I was in my spiritual journey, I was in Moldova, and an individual who I asked for advice in spiritual fighting, since I had no experience. Um, on internet, he wrote me a message, and he said, there is African priest whom I recommend to you, because I was complaining. I said, I cannot imagine the church is doing this to me. Church was so important to me all my life, and I spent my life in prayer and church. How they can do this? And so he said, I will introduce you to an African priest, and he is very impressed with your writings. He acknowledged he recognized you as a spiritual teacher and a prophet, and he wants to speak to you. So he introduced me on email, on Facebook, and then that priest, Reverend Aina is his name. He said, I invite you to be a moderator in my groups and so on. So he also said, I am a priest, I am in this and that community, and we all recognize you as an authority, and so on and so on. And I said, okay, thank you, but I'm on a spiritual journey. I don't have time to do moderation on your groups. Essentially, I have other things to do while I'm on spiritual journey. And then God revealed to me while He was sending messages to me. God revealed to me after a while, after a month or two, He revealed to me. He said, "This man was your father." I was in Bulgaria already by then. There were huge attacks and death spells on me, and God revealed to me. He said, "This man, Reverend Aina, in a different embodiment, he was your father. He was your biological father." And I was impressed. I was happy because I figured, he's spiritual. He's a priest. If he was my father in another embodiment, then obviously he's gonna help me. He already said he recognizes my work. So I was very enthusiastic. I shared this with him. I said, I'm so happy. Look what God revealed to me, this and that and that and that. And he said, oh yes, true, I knew there was a connection between us. And then because you were my daughter, I ask you to accept, in the group where I am, to accept to use my name, to introduce my name in your full name, as being my daughter, right? So I asked Jesus, should I do this? It seems weird. And I said, should I do this? And Jesus says, yes, do this. So I answered to Aina and I say, yes, Jesus said that I should do it. And he said, choose one of my names. He had 3 or 4 names. And I asked Jesus, which name should I choose? Jesus says, choose this name, one of them, just one of them. He said, just one of them. But not none other, just this one. So I said to Reverend Aina, look, I asked guidance from Jesus, said to choose this name. Now, from this point forward, an awkward situation intervened where this Reverend insisted that I would use a different name of his as his daughter. And I kept going back and forth between Reverend Aina and Jesus. I would ask Jesus, should I accept this? He's very insistent. What is this discussion that the two of you make me have from one to another? You insist on a name, he insists on a different name. What is going on? And I tell you, I had to do this for 4 or 5 times. He kept insisting, no, 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 but I think it's better if you take another name. At the end of the day, I asked Jesus, I said, this is crazy, this is embarrassing, this is not normal. What is going on? Why he insists on a different name and you insist on another name? And Jesus showed me, but this was a discussion which took hours, and Jesus showed me. He said, in a different embodiment, in a different parallel lifetime, he was your father as embodiment, not incarnation, but embodiment. And he also tricked you back then to use one of his names, and he presented you uh, as being his spouse in order to steal marriage rights from you without telling you, without you knowing. Okay. And we gave him a chance now in this lifetime to change that, to repent and to redeem. And the name that I told you to choose is his mother name, which by his culture means that you're his daughter and you're using the grandmother's name. The name he forces you to accept is his own name, which makes him in his culture look like your husband, not like your father. You see, so basically, Jesus asked me to play along this game in order to give him a chance to redeem himself. But instead of redeeming himself, he repeated the same mistake. But you see, God couldn't punish him until he made the mistake again. However, Jesus stood next to me and he walked me through this without telling me the truth about it, but guiding me in such a way so we will expose him, so he can be punished for something that he actually has done in this lifetime, even though it was repeating essentially the same thing which he did in previous lifetime, right? Another example I will give, and after that I will conclude because the video is too long. A neighbor of mine here who's been doing gang stalking at me for like since 2017, he used technology throughout all of this attack, and he continues even now. He continues to use technology and attack me constantly. And together with others, they did all sorts of attacks. I cannot even explain to you. He did sex magic attacks. He did incantations, altar attacks, holograms, levitation, technology use. Even one time when I changed my fence, I found underneath something. I found a ritualic symbol made um, from some weird stuff, which actually was for sex magic, and it looked essentially like genitals of a man, and he put that on the fence of my courtyard. I have it even now. I kept it. So he did all sorts of attacks at me, and God revealed this to me. And I said, this is not acceptable. Punish him. And God said, you just ignore him. You defend yourself, and you just ignore him. Let him be. After like a few months, God showed me. He said, he felt in love with you, and I said, you are all crazy. You are all crazy. This is not normal. What is going on? What do you mean he's in love with me? He's old. He's the same age as my father. What do you mean he's in love with me? You let him first attack me, now you tell me he's in love with me. Just make him stop, So God smiled and he said, God said, no, this was done in all lifetimes by him to you. And every time you must let him, I asked you to let him continue. Just defend yourself, raise your vibration, and raise yourself above this so that he cannot reach you. The point is, I left him in this until all the demons, because what they sent are spirits through sorcery and demons, forms of thought, forms of emotions, and all of them are being returned to him now. This is why he fell in love. These are the demons he sent to you. He sent to you to program you sexually. But then I told you to let him be. So then all of them are now being sent to him. This is why he behaves like stupid, like he fell in love with you. And this is his punishment each and every single lifetime, until he will learn, first of all, not to attack you ever. Second of all, not to play with these forces anymore. So this was in order for return to sender to happen. Um, those forces had essentially, when you do this, first of all, you have to gain authority in front of those forces they send. So you have to be able to reject those forces perfectly in such a way so those forces will go back to them when you send them, because they're hungry, they're starving, they need to feed. So since they didn't get to feed on you, then when you send them back to them, when you say I send you back to your sender, then they go because they're hungry and they need to feed from someone, right? And of course, none of them is able to actually cast out darkness. They only create darkness, they cannot cast it out, right? So I gave you a few examples of how God, Jesus, and the entire divine realm, your guides, and so on, will always walk next to you and will take you through all of this deception that they are creating at us, even when we don't know they are doing so. And this is, as I said, the other half of the glass, which completes the previous videos in which I explained how they interfere in our dialogue with the divine. Okay, obviously, knowing that God is there doesn't mean that we shouldn't reach and try to learn ways in which to detect ourselves when they interfere, just to make sure that they don't get to trick us. I'm gonna end this here because it's already too long and it's difficult for me to upload it. I will ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so we can make my work um, available to as many people as possible, hoping that many will find comfort, reassurance, and guidance in these videos. Thank you.